Hello, this is Virtual Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. Today, I pulled off my first successful Greek gift sacrifice. The Greek gift sacrifice is a tactical theme when the opponent has castled kingside. The bishop captures a pawn on h7 with check, sacrificing itself, but often with some sort of tactical advantage and forcing the king to respond and/or through weakening the defense of the king. In this specific game, the bishop sacrifice revealed a discovered attack on the opponent's queen. Please enjoy! Let's start off by having a look at the review, chess.com's algorithm. This was a fairly short game, I think with 17 moves, and I played very, very well in this game, 96% accuracy. And my opponent played somewhat less accurately. We were reasonably balanced. I had a small advantage sort of in the opening, but then the blunder by my opponent led to a sort of a commanding lead and then eventual win. Let's now look at the analysis. So I played with the white pieces, opponent black, e4, e5, knight c3, knight f6, and now f4, the beginning of the Vienna Gambit. So the best response by black is d5. They played d6, which is probably the second best response. So not a terrible response, but does give me a slight advantage in the opening, plus about plus 0.5. Now, for me to maintain that advantage, I have to now play knight f3 and basically allowing now for d4. Now, my opponent here opts to gobble, opts to capture, which is not the best move. As you can see, now plus 0.7, d4 as planned, opening up the diagonal for the bishop. Opponent plays bishop e7. I now capture that hanging pawn, so back to, so no material advantage now for the opponent, but you will see I now control the center and have relatively more development. Opponent's short castles, +1 now. So again, none of these are terrible moves, but a slight creeping incremental advantage to me. I now play e5, directly, starting the attack, captures, now capture back. And here, queens look at each other, but, I'm actually quite happy to trade queens and have a queenless middle game. The opponent decides to be aggressive and attack that bishop. And here I actually had to think a little while. I think almost 2.5, maybe 3 minutes before deciding on what was the best move. And I decided to play bishop back to e3, which ended up being the best move, which I was very happy about. And this knight is kind of in the wrong place. Now, the reason I opted to make that move is, potentially, there's that move with check, and then of course the queen can come here with check as well. The knight can only really defend that once, and so having the bishop there potentially blocks as well. At least that was my logic. Opponent now centralizes their rook e8, and you can see Stockfish reckons liquidating, going for a queenless middle game was best for black. So almost +2 now for me. Here I opted to play develop my other bishop at d3. Given that the opponent seemed like they weren't going to trade queens, I thought I might as well bring the bishop out. And here I actually did have the thought that, there is now a potential discovered attack on the opponent's queen, and that comes, of course, with check. That's the Greek gift sacrifice. It doesn't work at the moment because our queen is defended 2 ways, by the rook and the bishop. And then the opponent played this move. So there's an intrinsic logic here. I can see what they were trying to do. Double attack here, only have 1 defense. And, if I capture, it looks like that they can capture back the bishop with check. So I didn't really like that. That looked like potentially quite forcing. And here I thought for a couple of minutes, because I thought, look, the opponent clearly is thinking, if I captured, I think they would capture back, because surely that's the whole purpose of them lining up. I thought this was a good move by them. I didn't realize afterwards it was a blunder. And so if they're thinking of that, then they're going to lose the defender of that queen, which means that Greek gift sacrifice will work. However, that's not going to work at the, I can't go straight up like that because of course that comes with check. So I need to get the king out of there. So short castles. I'm very pleased to see on analysis, apparently the Stockfish thought this was the best move and a great move. No, so almost +5 now for me. So the opponent not seeing that trap goes through their plan. Captures, and you can see here, I sort of thought this through. So captures, captures, and then bang, the Greek gift sacrifice. So Greek gift sacrifice, sort of a allusion to the Trojan horse. So in the sort of the Trojan War, for those of you who don't know the sort of the Greek, the sort of classical Greek legends, I suppose, sort of a 10-year siege by the Greek forces against the city of Troy. So Paris of Troy had captured Helen, apparently the most beautiful woman in Greece, and on the advice of Odysseus of the Odyssey, created the hollow horse as a gift to the city of Troy, with soldiers hidden inside that horse. And seemingly that the Greek army had retreated. Of course, the Trojans brought that horse into their city gates, had a massive party, and then the Greeks exited the horse and sacked the city. And with that, the opponent is forced to do something, and then they lose the queen. So by this point, +10, so obviously completely winning as long as I don't stuff something up. The opponent now does make the best move. Obviously, if they don't move that, then I would capture the bishop. So that way, that can't work. But with sort of the king in quite exposed position, I thought that I will be able to come back with check. So another forcing move. Here, they push the wrong piece. Anytime you push a pawn, you give up some defense behind the pawn. And here, by not physically blocking that square, I now have another check. Opponent sort of moves, tries to move the king out of the way, but now another check. And with that, the opponent opts to resign because they're forced to have one move and then either there or there. Whoops, actually not there. There would be sort of checkmate. So I was very happy with this game. So my first game in the 1300s, won a very, very nice match with the Vienna Gambit, my favorite opening with white. GG. One of the strengths from the Vienna Gambit as an opening, especially when the opponent doesn't play accurately, is that you can be substantially ahead on development, with open lines that supports aggressive tactics. The Greek gift sacrifice in this game was in the context that I simply had more pieces developed and hence more options in terms of where to move my pieces. I hope you found this video interesting and thanks for watching.